Hi there. My name is Stan Harris, and for those of you who don't know me, I was a student, a piano student of Mrs. Smith's over 37 years ago. My, how time flies. But she was a trooper for taking me on as a student. I was not an easy student. I was not an easy kid at 5 years old. I was very mischievous, very hyper, had a lot of energy, and for me to sit focused in front of a piano for any length of time, let alone 30 minutes, which was her requirement, was a miracle in and of itself. But she did it. She was a taskmaster, and she kept me right to the right nose to the grindstone to learn how to be a good piano player, a good musician, and a better person because of it. And I would not be here today, a professor of music education and piano here at the world's largest Christian university here at Liberty University. I owe it to her. She was the one who urged me to move in the direction that I was going in with music, and I'm very thankful. Just some memories I wanted to share. Remember when I first started liking music. I always liked music. My mother and father, they listened to 60s, 70s music and country western music, and different things like that. And I enjoyed listening to those things, but to actually participate in music, to actually play something, was a whole nother chapter. And so I remember going to my grandmother's one evening to spend the night, and that evening that I went to spend the night, we were watching TV, an old floor console TV, and we watched a classic film. You probably have heard of it, The Wizard of Oz. Absolutely fantastic. And but what was more fantastic was the film score that came out of that. Wonderful music. And probably the most well-known song out of that film score was Judy Garland's Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Love that song. And I remember after the movie was done, my grandmother put me to sleep on a couch that she had there in the living room. And that night I fell asleep thinking about that song. And so when I woke up the next morning, my grandmother had a piano over off to the side of her living room. So I went over to the piano, I lifted the dust cover, and I started plunking out the melody to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And then after I finished playing that, I went ahead and I was playing Jingle Bells from a past concert that I had in elementary school. And I just keeping to myself, not getting into trouble, doing my own thing. And I think that amazed my grandmother, so much so that she probably went and told my mother, listen, this kid is being good, he's doing what he should be doing, not getting in trouble, let's get him into piano lessons. So I got into piano lessons, and that's where Mrs. Smith came into the picture. We had some wonderful times getting together and learning how to play the piano. Matter of fact, she even had an organ that sat adjacent from where the piano was located in her house. And so I would sit at the piano, she would be over here at the organ, we would do duets together. It was great. Now, let me just say this. She, even though she was wonderful, she had a streak to her, a certain it better get done or else kind of attitude. So let me give you a time where that came out. I was so tired of practicing. Every student gets to that point where they reach a plateau where they just don't care about practicing anymore. But Mrs. Smith's motto was, you need to practice in order to achieve perfection. Practice makes perfect. You got to do it. You're not going to get better unless you practice. And this is echoed even in sports, in the medical field, in the teaching field. You got to practice. It's not any different in the music field. So she urged me to practice as much as possible. So there was a time when I didn't practice the whole week, and I showed up to my lesson unpracticed. We sat down for probably, I'm going to say somewhere around 10, 15 minutes. She stopped the lesson right then and there. She said, okay, we're all done. And that was all she said. I thought, oh, cool, we're done. See, I didn't need to practice. By practicing, my lessons go longer. If I don't practice, I do better and I get done in half the time. This is great. Well, that's what I thought. She sat me down in a chair in her kitchen, waited for my mother to show up. My mom came to pick me up, and she asked me to go out into the car, and she asked my mom to come into the kitchen. So I was waiting out in the car while my mom was inside her house in the kitchen talking to her. And Mrs. Smith opened the door, my mom comes walking out, and my mom gets in the car, and we go home. And I said, so what was that all about? She goes, we will talk when we get home. And I knew, like, oh no, obviously Mrs. Smith saw something. So we get home and my mother relayed to me verbatim what she said. She said, the next time Stan shows up for a lesson unprepared, he can consider himself done with me. And when I heard that, I just broke my heart because I let her down. I thought enough of her as an authority. I thought enough of her as a person who is investing themselves in me to be a better person. I broke her heart by not showing up prepared. And so I practiced like a dog trying to get ready for my following week's lesson. And I could tell you that after that, I did not show up unprepared. So she was a taskmaster, but she had to be. And that's because when she saw potential, she did everything she could to bring that out, and that's what she did for me. So Robbie, Libby, the rest of the family, I just want to thank you for what you do for her, how you took care of her, how you showed honor to her. It sets an example for me, and I can't, again, enough thank you that I was able to be a part of her life and she be a part of mine. She became my family, not just my friend, not just my piano teacher, but my family. Family invests in one another, and that's exactly what she did for me. Thank you very much for this opportunity that I could share a little bit about Mrs. Smith and what a wonderful woman she was, and she still is. Her memory and her legacy lives inside of her family because she invested in them. And you should share that legacy and those values that she shared with you and share them with others. Let them see that, because I know for a fact that you are a better person because of it. God bless. Thank you very much.